why do people hesitate working with a personal stylist or a style consultant? And what is the barriers that are holding them back? What's that mindset that they're telling themselves?
So the majority of my women, the women that I work with, are some of the most intelligent people around, like CEOs of companies, CFOs, attorneys. And the biggest thing that kind of trips them up is that their clothes shouldn't matter. And if we're being honest, clothes shouldn't matter. Like they really shouldn't. Me as an image consultant, someone who has worked literally in the fashion industry my whole entire life, my parents had an accessory store, so I was born into it. What we wear should not matter. So, but our clothes send messages. They send messages about who we are, what we're trying to accomplish, how innovative we are, and all of the things. But besides sending the external information, it also sends us messages as well. And the women that I work with, their form of imposter syndrome is kind of in their wardrobe. So they have all the things figured out. They've got coaching on business development. They got coaching on speaking. They got coaching on all of the things, but clothes are really the missing piece of the puzzle. So when someone comes to them and they say, hey, Debra, I need you to come to speak to my people next week. You're going to speak in front of 1,000 powerful, amazing, ideal clients. Their number one thought is, what am I going to wear? I don't know if I want to do that. As opposed to saying, up. So there is this disconnect of clothes are vain. So this is superficial. I shouldn't be having to think about it. But what these women ultimately tell me is they are the number one reason they're not doing the big thing.
Well, there's energy behind clothing. And, I've heard people who are very intelligent, brilliant minds, take the stage, and the colors that they chose, or something that or if they speak monotone, it doesn't really elevate their presence. Whereas I think if you had a pop of color, it would grab a little bit more attention and radiate some energy from them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So our clothes send messages about energy and messages. And also the great thing is that when we know the messages that we're sending, we also can alter things. So I have a lot of women that actually are introverts that I work with, but knowing that, they say, well, sometimes I come off a little bit like shy. In my mind, I'm being timid, but I may be coming across that I think that I'm better than other people, or just like that, the B word or stuff like that. But what we can do is actually use your clothes to create connection. So if you know that you naturally come across as introverted, we can have your clothes be a little bit more fun, a little bit more whimsical, so it could show that you're more dynamic. So one of the most important things that we want to do with our clothes is making sure that what we're wearing is aligned with what our messages are, because the worst thing to happen is that it causes confusion. So if you're saying to someone, I'm innovative, I really know I'm ahead of my field, I know all of the things that have to do with technology, and then you're showing up as someone who is not innovative, kind of looks a little bit dated, there's a disconnect, and all of they think of is distrust. So we want to make sure that our clothes are aligned with how we're coming across.
That's fascinating. I never thought about, thinking about the personality that you want to pull out. I remember years ago, I went to a photographer and he said, what is 3 words that you want your images to shout out? And I had never had anyone ask me that. And it really made me think, because I gave 3 words and he came back and he's like, I think you need to keep thinking. I think you can do better than that after, talking to me, getting to know me a little bit. And then he came back and he goes, I think we're almost there, but I think you need to keep working on it. So it's interesting to me, like we talk about dressing the part, dressing for success, and people will downplay that because they'll say, like you mentioned earlier, that I have this brilliant message, it shouldn't matter. But I remember, taking my kids to sporting events, and the teams that had the matching track suits, or the more elite players, they were always wearing the suit and tie. And I do totally believe it has a psychological aspect about the belief in yourself. Years ago, I was going into this clothing store, this boutique with my daughter, and she was about 8, 9 years old. And she ran in and she saw that there was all these hats around. And I walk in and she goes, Mom, come try on these hats. And I'm like, Krista, I do not look good in hats. And this little lady came from around the corner waving her finger at me. And she's like, that's what you tell yourself. That's what you tell yourself. There's always going to be the right hat for you. So I would love for you to share, if you have a story about what someone has told themselves and how you got them to shift to believing that it's possible for them to show up and elevate their presence. Because really, it's about elevating who you are and how you show up.
So one of the things that I just want to touch upon, and what you were talking about before with the sporting events, there's actually studies that have been done called enclosed cognition. And you give someone a white lab coat and you tell them it's a lab coat, and they automatically perform better because people think that they're a doctor. They gave it to the other 50% a painter's coat and told them that they were a painter, and they did not make decisions like a doctor would. So it really has to do with having certain things. And one of the things that I really love teaching my clients is kind of have a totem, have something like a word that you're leaning toward that can make you feel powerful, because it's really important to step into that. So to answer your other question about the transformation, is a lot of my clients come to me when they are kind of in this transformational period, whether they are trying to get into the C-suite or trying to get into a leadership role, or they have went off and they've started their own law firm, or maybe they've been in a leadership position for about a year and they're looking around and they're like, I belong here, sort of thing. So it's really about kind of using your clothes to help you step in and to embody that person. So a lot of my favorite thing to do is for someone to come to me and say, my clothes are fine. They're okay. Like, I was on the phone with a client last week and she's like, my clothes are more than fine. Like I am a CFO of a company. I have my dream job. Like I am at the pinnacle points of my career. Like I got it. I don't have to explain anything to anyone. Yeah. I deserve 1,010% to be at this table. She goes, but when I have to go do the thing, or I have to stand in front of the board, or someone else walks in the room and they're super chic and super polished, I start to feel small and I start to feel like I am not stepping into my power. So my favorite thing to do is help my clients be that person, because clothes are a part of our identity. So they can actually make us feel more ready to do things, step in, do the big ask. So it's really about using your clothes to help elevate what's coming to you and really, really step into your next level.
And that leads me to, when I work with coaching clients as well, we talk about the environment that they set their desk up to be, where their productivity is. And it's amazing. Like they're blown away that if you add a plant or, a candle, or, keeping it all clear and, creating your environment so it represents your personality, like your clothing, how much more productive and how much more they show up in that elevated presence. So what types of opportunities have you seen women pass up because they don't have clothes to suit the occasion?
There's two different types of opportunities. There's the ones that they unintentionally pass up because they are in a room and something is being said, maybe offhandedly, or like there's a nuance or an innuendo. Oh, we're meeting for lunch tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Like something that like, sometimes there's like the boys club and like they have to say it's you to say, oh, I invited you and you didn't come up, but you like not being 110% present. So they're kind of not like, because they're too busy fixing their skirt, or they're too busy being like, oh, there's a hole in my pantyhose, or like whatever the thing is, that they're not really, there being 100% present, and they're missing out on the nuance. So there's the kind of the things that they're being passed over. The other things are, they may not show like they're ready enough. Like I've had clients that they will go and say, hey, I really want that board position. Like, they'll go to a mentor and be like, why do I keep getting passed up for the board position? And they'll say, well, they'll say, well, can I just share with you, one of the pieces of being the board position is, every quarter you're going to have to present, and you have to go to this conference, and you have to go to that. And you don't really seem like you want to be a person who is the center of attention, that has visibility, that is going to be representing us. So you kind of are not really showing like you want to have that is how you're presenting yourself, because you're wearing all black, you're wearing all gray, you're wearing all navy. You're not really asking to be front and center. And then I literally have heard people that have told me, like, I just got invited to the most fabulous dinner of these women that I would like love to be in a room with. I don't know if I want to go. Because you know what? I need to lose 10 pounds and I need to do this or I need to do that.
Yeah.
So when I'm ready, I'll go back and tell the person that I'll come, but I don't know if I want to go now, which you're not getting the invitation the second time. Hey, it's a very good
Right.
dinner.
And you don't want to pass up those opportunities